Fire Escape Engineers job site review. All right, so let's talk about on the footings. We need to clean this up, and then we need to get, you know, some tar just to stay above grade, 4 to 6 inches above grade. We want to tar the feet so that these things don't rot in the ground. So that's the first thing. What we're going to do here on these tie-ins, these guys have a welded connection here. So what we're going to do is probably run an angle, a 2x2, picking up the pipe, going back 4 to 6 inches, and then I want, you know, 2 halves going through the 1 inch, and then, you know, a ½ inch going through the whole pipe. So basically, we negate this welded connection. Do you agree with that, Robert? To eliminate the weld.
I'm thinking about it.
You know what I'm saying?
Trying to grasp what you said.
Well, because it's welded and I don't want to X-ray or load test it, I'm just going to use a 2x2 angle by quarter. So I tie it back to the pipe, go back 6 to 8 inches into the 1 inch, and then just bolt, you know, make it a mechanical connection.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's look at. We're going to start climbing here. So we have this big plate here. We've got some bolts. They look like they're fairly new bolts. Just verify that they're in good order. It looks like a U-clamp here. That's just verify it's in good order. Whenever possible, start sealing up any place that can collect water. Make sure you just get everything sealed. This chain, make sure this chain's in good order. Looks like that spring might be ready to rock and roll. So you may want to take a look at another spring. Check the bolts, and we have to change these bolts out because that's just a pivot. Yeah, it's just
loose.
Yeah, but it looks like we need a new one in here just because it's probably been a while since it saw some life. These all welded connection treads. So right here, hold on a second. See all these welded treads here?
Yep.
Our biggest concern, a lot of these, is just that you know, it's welded above and welded below. So we put an angle clip.
Made here. What?
Yep, I'll talk about that in a second. So we're going to use a little 2x2 angle clip or 1.5 inch angle clip, and we're going to put a bolt underneath. So we can have 2 3/8 bolts underneath, basically creating a little angle. You only need it so that it's resting on it. You don't need a top. You're going to reinforce.
Agree with that, yes.
Now on this here, because this is a Joe Mickey Mouse welding here, you need to have a 4-inch plate on the back, and you're going to sister it up on the backside with 2 bolts on this side, 2 bolts on this side, and you basically negate that
bad weld.
That bad weld, and it's a lot. Right here on this here, again, welded top, seal these all up, put 2 bolts, 2 3/8 bolts through it, and you negate the need for that weld. You agree with that, Robert?
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's go back up again. Nothing on top. She's double welded. All right, we need to cleanse. We need to cleanse these pressure plates here, and then we got to seal this all up so that this is a problem right here. That, as you can see, there's a buildup of water. So this is just pressuring back to the building. So once we cleanse it, silicone shut all around it. Silicone shut this, stop the water from getting back into these.
This is vinyl siding.
Yeah. Well, it's the vinyl siding on the outside. This is up against the original building.
I found it.
Hey, oh look at that, see? Probably need to put a bolt through here and lag screw it so that this can at least just be attached correctly. So put a lag screw and a lag screw there. Okay, coming up. Over here you have a welded connection. So we need to put a bolt. There's a bolt that was already here, but basically to negate the weld here, just put a bolt through. And probably the 1/2 inch. Probably need, so you can have multiples of the 3/8 or you can have multiples of the 1/2. So more 3/8 than halves. So 2 halves or 3 or 4 3/8. A lot of times you got to be careful. You have to use heads so that it doesn't interfere with the pivot point. On this over here, you have the through bolt. You have all this moss. You got to clean all this out. You have to create. They already created the gusset here, so this is looking good. You probably have to verify that these are fairly new bolts, so just verify that they're good. Seal them up. Get all this moss out here. Seal this all up with that. This is all here also. Find this connection on this side if it needs to be made into a mechanical connection to negate this issue here. Okay. Go back up. All right, so because this thing was leaning, that's what the legs to the ground negated. So again, we just have to make sure that that connection and that other connection over there becomes a connection. Now I would use the angle. See how she's out of balance? Very common. So I'll put a lag screw in here and then cock this whole thing up and make sure you got to build up so that the water doesn't come down here and then gets into behind here. So caulk it all around, lax screw it to the building, and then create a build up here. And sometimes even put it in a water dam higher, so any water coming down stops and drips out here. Okay, let's stick it on the floor. So on the back side, so I want to bolt there, and then this strap, this is the major, bolt there, but all these straps going, as long as they're in good order, they're all welded, leave them alone, but bolt there and a bolt there, but these straps nothing. Bolt there and a bolt there. Again, bolt in that corner. Sometimes you have to create a little triangle gusset and custom fit. So bring some flat stock, 4-inch flat, 5-inch flat, and you basically create a little triangle gusset, stick it in there, bolt on this side, bolt on this side, and it gets the weld there. Right here where it frames, just drill right through, put in a 3/8, marry the frame back to the angle. This is welded or sitting right there, so this is a crazy looking first step, but it's a pre-existing non-conforming. But you need to create a clip, and it looks like the clip's already there, so that's in good order, and it's sitting on top. The back side has the same thing, just change the bolt out on both sides. The 1.5-inch welding clip on this, put a 1.5-inch welding clip here, and then put 2 3/8 bolts. That negates the weld there. There's another bolt, there's another 2 3/8 here, that'll negate the weld here. But again, all welds must be sealed. So the bolt is there, but make sure you seal all the welds with silicone. This is a welded connection here. So a lot of times it's a simple angle clip in the back side. You have to create some sort of connection to negate this weld. It could be a flat bar, it could be a flat bar here. Or you can use 1-inch flat, but you put it on the back side. 1-inch flat creating a crazy V here. Bolt and bolt underneath, the carriage bolt on top so it doesn't affect the hand. A lot of times it's just a simple, because to negate this weld, you can just put a piece of flat, bolt, keep the weld, negate the weld. Okay, Jerry, what we're gonna do here, we were gonna run, because it's sort of flush to the outside, we were gonna run a piece of angle, 2x2, 8 inches deep over here, and extending out 3 inches, and basically bolting it through with a long bolt there, but then back here, two 1/2-inch bolts through that 1-inch solid bar. And you basically reinforce that welded connection. Got it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Going back up now, she starts to repeat herself. Okay, we need to go in and verify.
This is flexing.
Yeah, but it's pre-existing non-conforming, but that's the standard flat. You're gonna get some the spacing. If it was 52 inches, is what these that's the maximum. I mean, you're on 36 only. Yeah. So see, some of that will give it a little bit of a flex, but see that up here, Jerry? Mm-hmm. I have a square married to a round into a through plate and the backing plate on the inside with a nut, most likely, right? So see that weld? To negate that weld, we're going to use a flat underneath, or even an angle underneath, inch, let's say a 1/4-inch angle or a 1/4-inch flat, and you basically, it's a 6-inch piece of flat, 2 1/2-inch bolts in the front, 2 1/2-inch bolts in the back. You're basically negating that weld. Got it?
Which weld you're talking about? The angle to the full.
The angle to the round.
The angle to the round. Okay, gotcha.
So it's a flat. You're basically sistering it to negate the weld.
Mm-hmm.
Got it?
I don't see how you're doing it with a flat. You're going to have to do it with an angle. You're going to have to go up into the bar and sideways into.
You can do it with an angle or a flat. So a flat can be underneath it, or a flat can be sided, and you drill sideways or drill up, or you can do it with an angle and drill sideways. An angle probably look better, but you got to seal it once it's all done. So cock the hell out of it so the water doesn't sit in there anymore.
Right.
Okay. So that one's going to get done. This one's going to get done.
How about where you got your cosmetic vinyl siding separating from the building right in there?
Yeah, that has no. That's
somebody else's problem.
That's somebody else's problem. All right, see this over here, Jerry? See this bolt here? Mm-hmm. Gonna change this bolt out, but see this welded here? That's just another piece of flat. Mm-hmm. If you come from a flat all the way down, the new flat will go through, and you put another bolt up here. Bolt up here, bolt down here, you're golden. But keep the original connection there.
Okay.
So, understand? You can even put a piece of flat out here, but I would put it on the back side. 2 by 1/4, the whole length, and then all of a sudden, you pop in a half at the top, pop in a half at the bottom. Same thing's gonna happen on this side. See this? But over here, you're probably going to need an angle.
There you'll have to have an angle because you got to negate the weld.
You know what I'm saying? So the angle, you're going to try to get a bolt up this way, and then coming down, you're going to get reconnected there. So a little ingenuity is going to have to happen here. Got it? Otherwise, you can put a piece of flat on the outside here, come all the way down, and then put a spacer.
Yeah.
Just turn everything into a mechanical connection of any time. Got it? Now don't forget, this started pulling away from the building, that's why they put legs to the ground, so the fact that she's leaning a little bit is no longer a concern. But up against this building here, this you just got to confirm these lags. I'll swap them out into the building.
The height standard for
Pre-existing non-conforming.
so the low handrails or the low barrier rail is non-issue.
It's not, yeah, it's a pre-existing non-conforming.
What was it supposed to be?
Normally it's supposed to be 36, this is probably about 32.
Yeah, I would say.
You've measured your balls to 36, is that what you said?
I have a 36-inch NC.
That's good. That's a new one. It's about 32. You agree? About 32? Yeah.
I got to
So
still put
pre-
one leg over it to check it out.
Yeah, it's
The ball check.
ball check. It's pre-existing non-conforming. If the city official now on this welded connection here, see how it's welded? Just put a bolt here, new lag screw there. Okay. And then again from the in the corners you put a triangle in there, bolt.
Right.
Got it?
And you want to get, when you triangle all the way to the corner, and you're going to bolt through this,
You can, I'll tell you, I'll give you another answer right here. So this is where you come up with, if you plate this corner with a 6x6, you can actually kill 3 birds with 1 stone. You're going to get my corner in there that I want.
right.
If the triangle comes all the way over here, right, and then does this and then does this, for example, so it's not a pure square, but comes
Right.
out to here, comes down to here, and then triangles off into this corner. You're going to get 2 3/8 here. But over here, I want you to put a 1/2 inch there, 1/2 inch here, through the same plate that's picking up this whole corner, and you don't have to do any of that underneath stuff.
What's the purpose of the second 1/2 inch one?
My 1/2 inch is picking up my square, my other 1/2 inch is picking up my round.
Okay, gotcha.
Got it? You just answered all your concerns.
Yeah, right.
You can probably get away with that. Same thing here. But it's not picking up enough of the 1/2 inch in the back. See that? So that may not work for these. Underneath, you probably do the angle on that one or the flat, whichever is more convenient. But on this one,
Because you want this angle tied into the square bar plus the ring.
because it's got a weld.
Right.
Somebody, jury rigged this thing. But on the corners, there's 4 corners where it's going to be a plate in the corner that's going to kill all the joints.
And we just have to match the thickness of this, so we could use like probably 3/16 blade. That's probably 1/4 inch.
That's
angle.
1/4 inch angle.
Cool. 1/4 inch, yeah.
Got it? You
I've
agree?
got a question
Go ahead.
on what you just described there. The bar, the tension bar, and the knee brace compression bar. On the tension bar that you're just talking about doing all this bolting and so forth, are you going to be penetrating the tension bar
Yeah.
with a drill hole?
Yeah.
You don't like that because it weakens the bar.
Well, you have no choice but to get through.
What size bolt?
Well, depending on this, we'd either go with the 3/8 or go with a 1/2 inch. When the bar can take it, we'll go to the 1/2 inch. If the bar can't take it, we stay with the 3/8. Because again, you're reinforcing an existing weld that is in good order.
Yeah.
I think the bigger job that it's trying to do is provide the tension that you need to keep the fire escape against the building. And
Well, that's no longer
penetrating-
happening. There's no longer any tension because we have legs to the ground.
You've got legs to the ground. I'm wondering about that. That's a retrofit.
Right. That's after the
That's
fact.
been added on.
Because they were pulling. It was pulling away from the building.
Do you think they made an effort to lift it some?
Never. You freeze it in the moment. You take an existing fire escape, you would never lift it. If it's unless
You
it's
wouldn't-
leaning
you wouldn't
unless
correct
it's
that?
leaning dangerously, you basically freeze it in the moment because if you stop pushing it back into the building, you don't know what you're going to do inside the building
Yeah,
that you're going to
you
be
need
pushing.
Yeah, I understand.
So we didn't do this, somebody else did this. They came in and put in the legs to the ground because for some reason, and sometimes it happens, general contractors on the inside cut the through bolts or they cut some stuff on the inside. They move things around and all of a sudden now she's no longer supported.
And the thing's sagging. I wonder how much of it had to do with the guy that put the final siding on.
Well,
You don't know what's behind it.
yeah, and but again, with legs to the ground, it's negated Because right now I can take these out and I can just lag screw it to the building. They're no longer, through bolting is no longer required with legs to the ground.
What's underneath these legs to the ground?
Well, you know, we're going to have to assume that this, because we don't have any,
When did
again.
they pull the permit?
Oh, they had to. This was a, there was a violation on this thing. So
The
this,
drawings on what those legs do.
yeah, usually it's supposed to be sonotubes, and it looks like it had sonotubes, and they put in a new asphalt piece. So, to me, this was done after the fact because the city officials were involved in this to correct this measure. We're coming in now after the fact to deal with the rest of the fire escape. See these connections over here? Plate, bolt, bolt. Got it?
To avoid
Triangle, bolt, bolt. That's it. Now, a lot of times because this makes a corner, you don't have to worry about so much about that, you know. But whenever you can, you basically you're trying to get a weld by creating a flap over and then bolt 3/8.
Yeah, you're gonna have to through bolt between these to negate the weld because this whole rail is attached just with those stitch welds.
Well, it could be then again 3/8. You know.
Yeah, 3/8
Every so often, boom,
three-
and then
2/4.
seal it all up. Stop any water from getting in there. You got to clean those out and you got to seal it all up to stop that. So this is a pretty simple fire escape.
Yes.
This is an easy one. So we'll play with this a couple of days and we'll be done.
Now, is the same type of logic that you described over there happening here?
Yeah, same thing.
Okay, so we're gonna put a bolt through this tension bar.
Yep.
Well,
3/8.
there's no longer tension because of the cone.
Yeah, because we have legs to the ground, so there's no more tension happening
Well,
on that.
it's still holding it to the building.
Correct.
Let me ask you a question.
And by the way, I can negate this whole thing. I can run a 2-inch angle up against this wall and lag screw it back to the building, and I don't care about this anymore because the fact that I put legs to the ground just eliminated. I don't need to have a
As
through
long
bolt.
as the legs are going to do their job.
Yeah, but you don't know what to hit
If
legs.
they're sitting on the right thing.
No, I know. So what's your concern there?
Well, the initial job of this thing was to provide tension, but boring a hole straight through the middle of it, you're reducing the strength of that bar quite a bit.
Right.
Is there another way to do it that does the same thing? How about a U-bolt thing?
My question, let's go underneath and I'll show you.
But let me ask you this question. Is the reason you want the bolt through the tension bar and through this angle plate, or this angle iron, because you're questioning the integrity of that weld?
No, the weld underneath.
Okay.
They married a square to a round, and I need to negate that weld. And I have to make it a mechanical fastener.
Square to a round. This tension bar is cylindrical here, but it
It's
transitions
square there. So let's go underneath and you'll see it. So go underneath and you'll see it better.
Okay.
So it's not really about my top square with its weld. I don't care about that as much as I do
Okay.
the piece underneath. You'll see.